And compare real numbers. So, if b squared is equal to a, then b is a square root of a. So, another notation that you'll see would be b is equal to the square root of a, like that. If I have a square root of a, this part of it is the radical symbol. And whatever is inside of it is called a radicand.
I love square roots.
Now, something that you need to be aware of is that all positive real numbers have two square roots. A positive root and a negative root. However, 0 only has one square root. So the square root of 0 is equal to 0.
So a number without a negative is positive, right? So then is 0 positive, or is it like undefined?
Somebody want to tell him what I said the other day? Nope.
I need that.
Nope.
Wait, what was the question?
What is 0 if it's not positive or negative? Or is it positive or negative?
No, it's
That's
not.
what he's asking.
Either.
It's neither positive nor negative. It's only undefined if it's on the bottom of a fraction.
I know, right?
And negative numbers do not have square roots.
So does that mean all negative roots are imaginary numbers, or is it just the root of -1?
All negative numbers, because it's like -1 times something. You looking at the poster up there? Yeah, the square root of the square root of -1 is I. But yes, you don't need to worry about that yet. That'll come later. Huh?
I'll ask my dad when I get home.
What?
About I.
You're gonna have to have a more specific question than I.
What is
What is
I?
What is I? The thing you see with?
What is I equal to?
The thing that becomes before every Apple product? Like, what? What are you talking about?
She's not wrong.
Okay. We're gonna finish going through some note stuff and then I'll do some examples. A perfect square is the square of an integer okay, so like 4 is a perfect square because 2 squared is 4. I'm going to do something here that I wouldn't necessarily normally do, but I want us to have a refresher on perfect squares and just like multiplication. What is 1 squared? 1. What's 2 squared?
4.
3 squared?
9.
4 squared?
16.
5 squared?
25.
6 squared?
36.
7 squared?
49.
8 squared?
64.
9 squared?
81.
10 squared?
100.
11 squared?
121.
12 squared?
144.
13 squared?
169.
Of course you know that.
14 squared?
196.
What the heck?
What Jonathan says.
15 squared?
225.
225.
I don't know what
Alright.
you're at.
Up to this point is what I would expect you to be able to do.
Of course.
Okay, that's why I'm writing them all down. So if I asked you what the square root of 225 is, I want you to be able to tell me that it's 15. Okay? So that's why we wrote all of those down, just as a refresher. So it seems like most of you know up through 12 squared, so just make sure you learn 13 squared, 14 squared, and 15 squared.
You already know this.
How many do you know?
All of that. And I also know 2 to the, 12th power. Wait, 13.
It's like.
Okay.
2 to the 13th power is 8,192.
Hey, can we put Jonathan into calculus for a day?
Yeah, let's see how he does. No, let's see how he does. Oh wait, yeah.
I wanted to calculus.
I was
My
about to say
calculus is the
college.
highest.
I'll bring. Is it
I don't know that.
Yeah.
Or is it trigonometry?
All right.
No,
One more definition that we need.
College is the highest that she
You
An
teach
irrational number. Yes.
Oh,
She has a degree in it.
I knew that.
I have a straight math degree.
Yeah.
An irrational number is a number that cannot be written as a quotient of 2 integers something else about it, the decimal form of an irrational number neither terminates nor repeats. So the reason this comes up in this section is because the other thing is the square root of a whole number that is not a perfect square is an irrational number. So for example, the square root of 5 is equal to
Oh yeah, it's like one of those things that has like point.
2.236069797, so on and so forth.
I was right.
Shoot him.
I just put that in my calculator. I don't know that off the top of my head in case anybody was wondering.
Only Jonathan would.
Alright, so then memorize it.
I could have guessed approximately what it was, but not to that many decimal places.
Bro, your brain is a sin.
All right, so to add to our table that we had the other day, real numbers, okay? All of these are real numbers. So within this, I'm going to work over on this side first. The other day we had whole numbers that we started out with. Whole numbers are also integers. But remember, all integers are not whole numbers. And then we had rational numbers. So all whole numbers and integers are rational, but not all rational are the other way. So that's what we had the other day, right? Remember that? We did something that kind of looked like this.
Because she
It
holds
auto.
on to it.
It makes it perfect.
Oh.
Yeah, it's the auto.
Do you think you know we got out of that perfectly?
Yeah, like you know when she still
Yeah.
holds like the ants.
You never make up the
She
space.
holds it.
I know. You hold it.
All right, now over here I have irrational numbers. Okay, which is new from what I had the other day. Irrational numbers are things like the square root of 2, pi. Pi is a number. E is also a number. Negative square root of 14, that's irrational. So those are just a few examples of that. We had already talked about whole integers and rational numbers the other day. So just adding in irrational to what we knew. All right, so getting into problems, we are going to start out by evaluating square roots. So number 4 is negative square root of 49. So what you need to know about these is that whatever sign is in front of the square root is the sign of our answer. Okay? So the square root of 49 would be what?
-7.
Negative 7.
Okay, the square root of 49 is 7. Okay, I didn't ask about the negative yet. When we have the negative, it makes it -7. Okay? So this is working backwards. Okay, so 7 squared is 49, so that's how we're working backwards. That's why we did all of these things up here, so that we can work backwards. So the stuff that I wrote on the right side, when we take the square root of it, it's equal to the number that's on the left without the square on it. Okay? 6 plus or minus the square root of 1.
Plus.
Minus.
What?
Plus minus.
I said it's whatever sign is on the front. Okay,
Plus,
so this
plus,
one is
minus.
this one is both because it has both written there. But what is the square root of 1?
1.
1. So this is just plus or minus 1. 8 plus or minus the square root of 121. What is the square root of 121? What is the square root of 121? I'm not asking about the
11.
sign. 11. Okay, now what sign's going on it?
Plus minus.
Plus or minus?
Okay.
2. Oh, dude.
That hurts.
10. This one you may not know. We're going to test your knowledge and find out. Negative square root of 256.
1,000 bottles of baby.
The square root of 256 is 16.
16.
Just some quick math.
No,
But I
Yeah,
did
he's
some
right, he's
quick
right.
I would not give you that one on a quiz or a test because you would not know that one right off the top of your head.
Why you don't? Definitely did not just check the 6. I definitely don't.
Yeah.
I don't know what you mean.
he cheated.
14. Negative square root of 1600.
Negative what? Square root of 69.
Wait, I got this one.
It's like 80.
buddy.
Negative 80.
Wait,
Isn't
40?
it negative 80.
How'd you get that?
I don't know.
You're right. I just want to know how you got it.
Oh, I see it.
Me?
I can't
see it.
explain. I'm
No.
just
The person that gave me the
You're
answer.
wrong.
Huh? No, I'm not.
He's right.
No.
He's right.
She said she's
Yeah,
right.
I said he said
You
4.
said he's wrong.
Wait, how is that?
I
Wait.
said-
All right, I'm going to show you.
No.
No, I did not. I just know it in my brain.
Oh, really?
Yes. Okay.
In my
So
I
listen.
remember getting
Listen. Okay, he was right. It is 40. Obviously, the negative sign in front, so this is negative 40. The reason is, what's the square root of 16? 4. Okay. There's 2 zeros. What's the square root of like 100?
10.
4 times 10 is
40.
40. Now, again, I'm not going to give you one like that unless it's like an extra credit problem on a quiz or a test, okay? I told you need to know up through 15 squared. That's it. Okay? If I give you another one like that, it's going to be some kind of extra credit problem.
That is crazy.
All right, the next one. So these ones were all perfect squares, right? Like,
Yeah.
they came out to be 7, 1, 11, 16, 40, right?
Yeah.
Now, the next ones want us to approximate the square root. Okay? So when we do this, we're given a square root value that's something that's not perfect, okay, that we don't know exactly what it's equal to. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a number that it's close to. Okay, so I'm going to do a random example and then we'll do the ones out of the book. So if I gave you the square root of 80, what is a square root of a perfect number that's close to that I know?
81.
81. Okay, so I know that the square root of 81 is equal to what?
9.
9. What's the square root of a number before 80?
8 something.
Which is what?
Okay.
8.9?
No, like 60, what? 8 squared is 64, okay? So the square root of 64 is 8. What is 80 closer to?
9. No, to 81.
Out of these two?
81.
81. So we're going to say that this is approximately, okay, we make a little curvy equal sign. That means approximately. And then we're going to say 9. Okay, so it's pick a number that's a perfect square that it's closest to, and we're going to say that's what it's equal to. So when you do them, I want you to show me the perfect square that's before and the perfect square that's after, and then choose the one that it's closer to. Okay? So number 16 is negative square root of 18. Okay? So what's a perfect square that I know on either side of 18?
16.
Okay, so the square root of 16 is
4.
4. What's the one on the other side of 18?
25.
Square root of 25 is?
5.
Which one is 18 closer to?
4. The 16.
It's closer to 16, so this one is going to be approximately negative 4 because we keep the sign that's on here in front, okay? $18. The square root of 150. What's a perfect square before and after that I know?
144.
What's the square root of 144?
12.
What's the perfect square after 150?
169.
What's the square root of 169?
13.
What's this closer to?
12.
144.
Okay, it's closer to 144, so this one is going to be 12.
Oh.
Bro.
That's worse than Sam,
No, it's not.
bro. It kinda is.
It kinda is.
Sam would guess, and he got
Alright.
it right, so.
20.
He can't even
Square root of 40. Focus.
Bro, you always talk
Focus.
Sorry.
Square root of 40. What's a perfect square on either side of that?
36. 36 and 49.
36 and 49. What's the square root of 36?
6.
Square root of 49.
7.
What is this closer to?
36.
It's closer to 36, so we're going to say this is approximately 6. One more approximation one. 22. Negative square root of 65. Perfect squares on either side.
64.
64 and 81. Square root of 64 is
7.
8. Square root of 81 is.
I can play 9.
9.
So what is this approximately equal to?
Negative 8.
Negative 8. Good. All right. Any questions on approximating?
No. Easy.
Wow.
What's pi squared?
At least I'm staying on math test like 20 hours a week.
All right. Classify and order real numbers. Okay. So much like what we did in the last, I guess on the last quiz where we had to say if it was a whole number, integer, or rational. Okay. We now are adding irrational as another option. Okay. So these ones want us to classify as whole, integer, rational, or irrational. How do I want to do this?
IR.
Word.
Well, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, the IRS.
Irrational, I'm just going to do as I in a lowercase r. All right, and then it wants the numbers least to greatest. All right, so 24. We have the square root of 49. 8. The square or negative square root of 4. And negative 3. All right. What is, I'm going to convert the stuff that's in radicals first to an approximation of its number. What is the square root of 49?
7.
7. And the square root of or negative square root of 4?
Negative 2.
Negative 2. Okay. Now, classifying. What is 7?
Whole number.
Whole number.
All of them.
Integer.
All of them. Well, except, yeah.
Yeah, all of them. Except
Word.
Everything but irrational. What about 8?
all of them except
All of them
rational.
except irrational.
Yep.
Word.
What about negative 2?
Pretty sure it's WR.
Yeah,
Negative number can't be whole.
No, not W. Just IR.
Integer and rational. What about negative 3?
or IR.
Integer and rational. Now, order them from least to greatest.
Negative
Let's
3,
see,
negative 2,
negative 2.
8. No,
So
7.
negative
7,
3, negative square root of 4, then what?
8 square root
No,
of
it's a
49.
square root of 49 and then it's 8.
Yeah.
Square root of 49 and then 8. Okay, so that would be least to greatest.
Hey.
Stop.
No,
Condolences, sir. Please stop.
let's see, 28. Negative 8 over 3. Negative square root of 5. 2.6. Negative 1.5. And the square root of 5. You have a question?
So for when we're ordering them, do we have to put them in the square root, or can we just put them a number?
No, put them like this. Put them the way they originally were. Alright, so let's approximate things. How could I rewrite negative 8 over 3?
Negative 2 and 2/3.
Negative 2 and 2/3. What about negative square root of 5?
Negative square root of 2.
Yeah, negative square root of
Or negative 2.
Okay, so it's approximately negative 2. Probably it's a little bigger than 2, right? Because 5's a little bigger than 4. So it's going to be approximately negative 2. We have 2.6. I have negative 1.5. And then square root of 5, again, a little bigger than 2. So I'd just say approximately 2. It's probably like 2.2, somewhere in that range. But anyways, all right, let's label everything. What is negative 2 and 2/3? Just rational.
Ruh.
What about negative 2?
I
Or, well, let me rephrase. What about negative square root of 5?
IR.
Irrational. 2.6.
R.
Rational. Negative 1.5. Rational. And then square root of 5. Irrational.
Just to get
So if you're not using the abbreviations that I am, then you need to clearly label what your abbreviations are so that I'm aware if you're going to abbreviate and not write out the whole word. If you want to write the whole word, that's also fine. All right, I need to put these in order.
The smallest, negative 8 over 3.
Negative 8 over 3. Negative 2 and 2/3 is the smallest number that I have.
And then there's the negative square root of 5.
Negative square root of 5.
Negative 1.5.
Negative 1.5.
Square root of 5.
Square root of 5.
2.6.
And 2.6. Yep. Any questions about that?
Nope.
All right, evaluate the expression. And these will be the last thing that we're doing in this section, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. 34. 3 plus the square root of x when x is equal to 9. So I take, and just like when we've done plugging in before, I plug in 9 for x. So I have 3 plus the square root of 9. Square root of 9 is 3. So this is 3 plus 3, which is 6.
Easy.
Don't get too cocky.
7.
No, I'm kidding.
It was a mistake.
36. 4 times the square root of x when x equals 49. So plug it in. 4 times the square root of 49. What is the square root of 49?
7.
7. So 4 times 7 is
11.
times
Oh, times.
28.
28.
Yeah, video, it's easy.
It
It's
is
easy,
easy.
video.
If I don't make some sense.
It brings up a good point, though. Make sure you check the sign and what you're supposed to be doing if you're add, subtract, multiply, divide, whatever.
See, I did that on purpose.
Really?
Sure he did.
You were just hungry.
All right, 38. Last one. -3 times the square root of x minus 7.
What's our square?
Wait, what's the X?
Yeah, what's that?
I'm gonna rewrite it when x equals 121.
Yeah, X equals X.
X equals.
All right, plug in 121. So I have -3 times the square root of 121 minus 7. What is the square root of 121?
11.
11. So I have -3 times 11 minus 7.
-3.
Negative 40.
-33 minus 7, which is
-40.
-40. All right, any questions about any of this stuff? All right, your problems, and you should have plenty of time to get them done now. 3, 5, 7, 9 is going to be a little harder, but it's going to kind of be like the one that we did, the square root of 1600. I just want to see if you can figure it out. 11, 13, 15, 19, 21, 27,
We have 10 problems.
37, and 39. Okay, but remember, these are fast. This is just like write the square root, say what it is, so it shouldn't take you that long. Huh?
It's mental math. Sort of.
The square roots are, but remember, you should be writing the problem and writing what it's equal to, okay?
Alright.
When you get to the ones where you need to classify them, or even the ones that are approximating, you need to put the square root before and the square root after so you can check and see what it's closer to. Classifying, make sure you do that. And then the ones where you're evaluating, make sure you show what you're plugging in, okay? Show it being plugged in, and then give me a final answer.